So some people think Saturn is actually, I don't know what the exact theory is, but they think that maybe it's a big satellite because the rings kind of form a little satellite type dick shape. But the top of it, it's the only naturally occurring hexagon shaped cloud that we know of. And it's at the top of the equator of, not equator, top pole, the northern pole of Saturn. And it's hexagon shaped. And we don't know how this could naturally occur, which is why they think it was a man-made satellite, like, or at least turned into a man-made satellite. So check this out.
Yo, what the?
Yeah, that's the top of
Oh,
Saturn.
I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That kind of looks like a kendama. Do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
So it's like a little wooden toy that you just try to, like, it's a ball on a string, and at the end there's like this little pokey thing for the hole, and you just have to like try to get it on there.
Yeah, and it's a perfect hexagon shape. And this is kind of like if you think back to 2001: A Space Odyssey or 2010: A Space Odyssey. Have you ever read those books or watched those movies?
I don't think so.
I mean, the whole point of that movie is going, I believe they went to Jupiter. Correct me if I'm wrong, some of the listeners. They went to Jupiter to look for signs of alien life. It was either Jupiter or Saturn, because I know the book was either Saturn or Jupiter, and then the movie did the opposite, Saturn or Jupiter. So it was one of those two. But there's been a lot of talk about like random UFOs being seen in the rings of Saturn, things like that. Another crazy thing, there's a moon of Jupiter that has a big monolith, just like the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. Do you know what a monolith is?
No.
Monolith.
I'm curious. Can you see this if you have like your own like pretty good?
Yeah, that's how
telescope?
we know about it.
Ah, okay.
So a monolith is this big rock that's like shaped like that.
Oh.
It's shaped like a fucking rectangle or a sphere, right? So monolith on moon of Mars. Yo, so check this out. This is an actual satellite of the monolith on the moon of Mars. Now, here's the significant part about this. The only reason I heard about this, or anybody heard about this, is because Buzz Aldrin, the second person to ever land on the moon, walk on the moon with not Lance Armstrong, Neil Armstrong. I'm getting a lot of names confused today. With Neil Armstrong, second man on the moon, still alive, Buzz Aldrin. He said in an interview, people need to take their curiosities to the sky. He goes, what are people going to think when they find out that there's a big monolith on the moon of Mars, and that moon of Mars makes one revolution around in every 24 hours? And the monolith itself, it looks very man-made. So here's the monolith on the moon of Mars, bro. Yeah. And you can see the shadow it casts. Like, that is not a naturally occurring rock formation.
Yeah, it's just strange because is that the only one like in that area?
Yeah. So the whole story of 2001: A Space Odyssey was they found a monolith on the moon, and they realized that this monolith was leading them to a second monolith on either Saturn or Jupiter, or maybe the Mars of Jupiter, something like that, right? And then the whole space mission, the whole point of the movie was they were traveling to go see what it was, where it landed, like what created these fucking structures, and do research on it, right? So anyways, you can go check out the movie. It's a really good movie. It's a classic, but there's a lot of different crazy anomalies that you got to think of. There's another moon, I think it might be the same moon with the monolith, but it looks like a perfect walnut, almost like in the sense that there's around the equator. So like the center of this sphere, it's perfectly spherical, but then there's this ridge.
Like a shell.
Like a walnut kind of, and it perfectly goes around, and it's just a perfect ridge, and it's almost like it was welded shut, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's pretty crazy. I forget what moon that is, or I'd look up the picture and show you, but yeah, man.
Dude, I feel like, with such a big universe, ever expanding universe, I feel like if it's bound to have some like oddities, that's unexplainable. So that's where I'm just kind of like, I'm still kind of open to the fact, but not, I don't know.
Yeah. There's certainly a lot of things that scientists, even no matter how smart they are, even in 2020, don't understand about the world, the universe, space, and things that can occur naturally. But there's also another thing to consider, and it's called the Fermi paradox. Do you know
what is it?
So the Fermi paradox is basically we can look up at the sky and see billions and billions of different galaxies from our own vantage point on Earth, right? And then if you think about what makes up a galaxy, billions and billions of actual stars. Every one of those stars has planets revolving around it. They have their own solar system. So we got billions and billions of galaxies that we can see, times billions and billions of stars inside of each one of those galaxies, times dozens or, at least, a few planets surrounding each one of those stars. And so for us to be so naive to think that we are the only intelligent life in the entire universe is absolutely insane. The statistics are severely against that being the absolute truth, right? Statistics, right? If we're going by the numbers, there's a very high chance that not only are we not alone, but there's probably billions and billions and billions of other intelligent species that are, here's the craziest part, billions of years ahead of humans. Because the life of the universe is about like 14 billion years. Mm-hmm. And then how long has the Earth been around? Maybe less than half of that, right? So if you think about how long it took for humans to sprout up, well, there could be potentially other planets in the universe that had at least a billion years head start, if not several billion years of a head start compared to us. So when you think about that, that's pretty crazy, because so the Fermi paradox is like the numbers show that we should be seeing aliens everywhere and signs of intelligent life everywhere, but it's a paradox because we're not, and we just don't know. Na, 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 na.